um, uh, be in this wonderful chat that we're going to have with Linda Silich of Groundworks Landscaping. Linda's been a good friend for a long time. She did the total transformation on my property, and known her for a long time through many ways, with all of our working out and whatnot. And I, when when we sent out the invite for this, we said, let's talk about roses and also have some rosé. So if you got it, you gotta get it out now. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, almost 5 o'clock here. So anyway, so I realized that others might really be trying to figure out, what to do. I mean, we're all stuck at home. We've got our yards. There's things we've wanted to do. You've already organized your pantry. You've done your closet. You've done this. What about in the yard? And you want to get your hands dirty. You want to make things look pretty and sunny and beautiful. And so I thought Linda is the expert in all things yard work, groundworks, from the ground up. And I thought it would be great to have Linda on just to give us some tips about what you can do in your own yard to, create positivity and just make you, that much more happier about being home. People are making vegetable gardens. They're doing wonderful planters. I've got tulips popping up from bulbs that we planted. So, we're getting into, and it's a gorgeous day. So Linda, I'll leave it up to you, but I just thought it'd be wonderful for us all to get together and you give us your expertise on some fun things to do in our yard to make us happy. So thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, Sarah Minardi. It's awesome to see you. I too have been cooped up, other than getting to my office, which I work with my best friend and my husband, Kim Wren and Andrea Silich. And we have just really been excited to get started, and then all of this happened. So some of the things I can say, I'll start with this. This is a nice quote that I read the other day. It says, "Don't count the days, make the day count." I thought that was really good.
I like that. Right. That's great.
I don't always wake up wanting to make the day count because it's difficult. It is difficult, but I do think having some kind of a routine is good. So with that said, just as you've been cleaning out your closets and doing all kinds of different things, take that same mentality and processes outside. And I think it's good. This has been a good time to do some kind of cleanup, getting rid of all the debris, the leaves, and everything. And especially with April showers, they say come May flowers, but in our world and horticulture, it's April showers bring a lot of weeds. So with that said,
get out there and start yanking.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what, Sarah? It's actually really important to pull them right after a rain because they're really loose. So that's your first tip of the day. Getting rid of weeds, either pull them at right away after the rain with a weed tool, or they'll pop out pretty easily. So that's a good tool.
That's a good tip.
Yep. And the other thing you can start doing is turning over the soil a little bit and raking things out while you're raking away the leaves and what have you. But I also believe in mulch, which, a lot of people think this just makes planting beds look pretty. Although I do have some clients that don't like mulch at all, so we just fill them up with ground cover and plants and all of that. But what's important, whether you do planting on top or you do mulch, it serves as a really great purpose to suppress the weeds and protect the roots of either, around surrounding trees or other plants that are nearby. So remulching right now is a big thing to do in the spring as well. So that's another big tip. I had one customer that we do his maintenance, but he decided that he wanted to have his 4 boys put to work. And so
why not?
Yep, we dropped the mulch off and he got all of his kids and they all took pride in it, took pictures. It really, really was cute. These are not small children because mulch bags are very heavy, but that's that, you can get them involved. So I would say doing a couple of those things are really important to get the yard in shape and to get it looking better and making you feel good about the outside, the same way that you feel good when you clean out a closet or a cabinet or what have you. So that would be some do-it-yourself projects. Here's another thing that's becoming a thing. It's called petscaping. So, and you know, not everybody has pets or dogs or what have you, but we have had some people ask us, will you get our yard in a creative way to do some petscaping, like, you know, creating little paths or and you train the dog to go to the bathroom in the back. And so, you know,
Wow.
yeah, there's all kinds of things that you can do with that too. So creating a space for them to not only play and have fun, but also to do that ungodly elimination thing and have it all in one place is a good thing to do too. So yeah, that's been a thing, petscaping.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's fun. Why not? You're in the Hamptons. What, you know, make a place for your pet. Let the pet enjoy it.
That's
the pet
right.
has, they need it too.
So any questions so far as spring cleanups? Any other components, if anybody has anything? Okay. And another thing that, well, it's funny because out here we have a lot of gravel driveways. And this is such a dumb, embarrassing story, but I'll tell it anyway. So me being from Ohio and Midwestern, we didn't really have a lot of gravel driveways there. It was all asphalt and typically in like an Edward Scissorhands neighborhood. So when I moved out here and everybody had gravel driveways, I was really kind of concerned, like, oh gosh, where are my kids going to put, you know, draw on chalk and whatnot. But it turned out that I really do like the gravel driveways. It's very much out in the country and they look really nice. Point being is this is a good time to rake it. So get out a different kind of a rake than you would with leaves, and it's a harder kind of a rake. And that's another project that you can do. And also sometimes you might need to get another load of stone or gravel to fill in the holes. And so that's
great.
Yeah.
Linda, I have something for you. So we have gotten, you know, my kids were having some watermelon. We planted a couple of watermelon seeds in planters in our kitchen, and we started to grow little carrots and celery and a couple of different things. But when's a good time to plant a vegetable garden? When does that, and where on your property would that be? Does it need to be in a specific location, you know, north, south, east, west, that kind of situation?
Typically it is the sunniest spot that you want to put a vegetable garden. And now is a good time to start prepping for it. I have a few things that most people buy seeds online from various companies. And I too was going to do that, and I still will. But in my research, and I have a few favorites that we used to order from when we were a garden center, which we are no longer, but I have a few favorites. One of the most well-known seed companies is called Johnny's. Shocker, like Johnny Appleseed, right? And that's out of Winslow, Maine. And you can get tools from there too. You can get all kinds of seeds. They're a very large company, and they still have the ability to ship seeds. As I was looking at all the websites today, just, you know, take a look at things with all the coronavirus restrictions. Seed Saver Exchange is one that also is really popular. Southern Exposure is another seed company that they tend to have unique, unusual seeds like peanuts and okra and things like that down south.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, they are completely sold out. So there are some seed companies that are definitely tapped out. And these are, you know, something that are usually readily available about right now.
Well, because everybody's planting their own food.
Everybody is doing it. So I do have a couple sources. So if you want to write these down and you're interested in doing it, I would advise you to order them this week. All right. So one of them is called Baker Creek, and it's seeds at Rare Seeds.
Hi, Jeannie.
It's seeds at rareseeds.com. And it's a family-owned company. It's a gorgeous catalog. They still have seeds available, and they're shipping still in like about 2 weeks. So you're still in that window, which, Sarah, you asked me, when is the best time to do it? It really is starting now.
No.
Now. And the other company other than Johnny's and Baker Creek is something also called Clear Creek Seeds, and they're out of Oklahoma.
Okay.
So those are 3 options for you to
That's great.
Yep. And I would definitely get in the queue because some of the delivery times are definitely backed up 3, 4, 5 weeks. So you want to get them in, I would say, before Memorial Day.
Do you find, Linda, that a lot of people are doing more planters for their homes and that kind of thing as well?
Yes.
This time?
And a lot of and a lot more people want to do it themselves. And you know, obviously, not only just for the safety reason and that, but I think people are embracing the fact that they want to do something else than, you know, just go stir crazy in the house. And you can only, you know, do so many cooking of meals and cleaning and, you know,
right.
jobs. Working from home is challenging. There's just a lot of different things that we've all had to get used to. Right.
And getting out in the yard and getting your hands dirty and getting, you know, vitamin D like we are today. It's a beautiful day. It's so cathartic.
It is.
For everything that's surrounding us right now. So it's like your own mental sanity to get out there, physical sanity.
It definitely is. I have another seed company I want to mention. This happened to be one of my favorites and I forgot it. It's called Hudson Valley Seed and they're upstate New York. And they're heirloom and organic, never GMO. They actually work with a range of artists. So they're very contemporary looking seeds. They don't look like, they have artist pictures on them. So,
wow.
And then it benefits a particular organization that the artist will choose, or it benefits the artist. So that's
nice.
a really cool seed
that's wonderful.
company I would look into as well. The other thing on the planting of a vegetable garden, a lot of people, especially out here with deer and rabbit, so prevalent, it's helpful to get a raised bed vegetable garden. And, you know, I've had people ask me how to do them. You can either do them with 2x4s in different sections, maybe a foot high, and then you put a rabbit fence around it. But then we got really creative. And I wish I could I don't know if I had a picture, but we did it with some different material so that they're 4 feet high. So you actually can stand there and it's easy to garden that way. So I know.
That's cool.
I take
like if you're folding laundry on top of your washing machine.
Exactly. And the way
that's what I think about, because that's what I'm doing all day.
So those were made out of old pallets of sod. So we have those readily available. If anybody wants them, you just have to let us know and we can put them out at the road. And then you order this siding from, you know, your local hardware store, and we can give you some directions too and email it to you. But we do that.
That's great
too. But that's kind of a unique thing to do.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's very fun.
Somebody asked me how long do seeds last, which was a good question because sometimes you find things laying around when you're cleaning out the cabinets. And typically they last 3 to 5 years. There are some alliums, which are they're beautiful bulbs with the big head on them. And parsnips and spinach, those are a little bit shorter, 1 to 2 years. And then flowers, annuals are usually 1 to 3. Annuals are flowers that only last typically 1 season, then they're throwaways. Perennials are flowers that come back again, and they usually, if you have the seeds for perennials, they'll last 2 to 11 years. So I thought that would be helpful for you people to know.
That's great.
Some of the best seeds for containers truly are like tomatoes, Tiny Tim tomatoes, the smaller dwarf version, not the bigger ones. There's something called Tom Thumb peas, which are really good. Lettuces, most herbs are really good. Lavender's great for containers. It doesn't require water. It likes sandy soil. So those are awesome. I have all kinds of lavender out by my pool deck. It smells good. It's low maintenance. You would think that my pots would always look awesome because I own a landscape company, but that's not the case. So sometimes
it's the shoemaker's children.
Yeah. So other things.
Oh,
Here's-
wait, Carol had a question. What was Carol's question? It came up.
Yeah.
Francis.
So what mixture is best for the raised beds, topsoil or compost?
I would always err on compost. And I also, if you go on Johnny's website, Johnny's Seeds, Johnny's Selected Seeds, that's what it's called. There is a 4 pinpoint seeder that with those raised beds, and it's like a rake that's really wide. And if you pull it across, it's you can plant an entire bed of dense greens in like minutes, because it makes like those little, sections there to just put the seed in there very quickly.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So and the fact that Johnny's sells tools, that's helpful too. I'm a one-stop shopping kind of person.
Yeah. Kathy had a question too.
Question. Yeah. How best to combat weeds coming up in a gravel driveway?
Yeah. You know what? There used to be an answer for that, but I think with all of the fertilization and things, and we try to do as much organic as possible, your best bet really is you're going to have to pull them. You're going to have to pull them for sure. And definitely not Roundup.
Yeah. Nope.
Spectricide.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Spectricide, is that good for weeds too?
No, not necessarily. I think that has some ingredients that are similar to Roundup. So I'd be very concerned about that. I would just do the old fashioned way and wait till it rains and then get out there and start doing it.
It's a good tip. I like that. Next time it pours, which will probably be tomorrow.
So I have some things for people with kids, that I thought were fun. I think they can help you with a veggie garden. That's really, and they do, once they see things sprouting, they get excited and like, oh, I planted that one and that one. But I really do think that you can make them pull the weeds and do a 5-minute rule and set the kitchen timer and see who gets the most weeds and get a bucket. And that's a fun game. I would definitely have them, maybe they could get and build a sandbox. You could do a sandbox, or you could do hang a hammock. And then the area underneath the hammock notoriously is dead grass. So you could carve out that little area and fill it with sand instead, or fill it with mulch underneath the hammock. So that's a fun kid thing. And then they, their reward is playing on the hammock with you. So
yeah, that's nice. There were a couple other questions. What were those?
Yep. So the first one, my tomatoes were infested with worms last year. How can I avoid that?
Ooh, well, there is some organic sprays that you're going to have to definitely apply. And again, that's, if you can catch it early enough, that would be better. Right? What's that saying? I'm so bad with sayings. The early bird gets the worm.
Gets the worm.
Definitely.
Well, not that worm. You know what?
Yeah,
well, I guess you do get the worm.
Yeah, definitely catch them early enough. I saw another question that just popped up. When can you move them outdoors? As soon as it gets warm out, as soon as it's a regular temperature of being warm on a regular basis. So that's why right now this week in New York, it's still somewhat cool, although today is beautiful and it's nice and it feels like we could be, laying out per se. I would, if you have any fledgling grass, any struggling yards, you still have a good week before it gets warm to get out there and do some overseeding. So that's another thing to really take care of and get your yard ready for the summer, is getting that overseeding and making sure if it's in a shady area, you need a seed that has a fescue blend. So that's really important. A lot of people don't realize that. They wonder why the seed didn't work, and that's typically why, because they didn't realize that they had either purchased a full sun seed or had asked somebody to do it, and that person also didn't purchase the correct seed for the condition.
So fescue is like a shady seed? Is that
Correct.
more of a shady seed?
Yeah,
okay.
FESCUE.
Yep. Okay, got it.
Yep.
And there was another question.
Yep, a couple other questions. How to deal with moss in your grass, and what is the best way to grow beautiful grass?
All right, so the reason moss grows is because, again, it's very shady. So the best way to deal with it would be if it's extreme shady. I have a site right now, I'm doing a design, and he has Salix babylonia, which are weeping willows, and the grass, it's no grass underneath, it's all moss. So what you need to do is dig out that moss, and then you have to overseed it with that fescue blend. And that would be the best way to handle it. If it's dense shade, you just really are better off giving in to the moss. And there are some people that's all they want. I have one client that he wants a ton of moss. So, you know, it depends on what you want. But if you want a nice lawn, definitely dig out that moss, and then add some fertilizer and some compost, and add some overseeding, add some seed to that, and do it now. You have to do, if you're upstate, or if you're up here in north, you have to do it now before it gets too warm. Won't germinate well. Question.
Yes. Yeah. Please give the steps of overseeing process.
Overseeding.
Overseeing the process of overseeding.
Overseeing the process of overseeding. Well, mainly you have to prep the grounds. Like in a brand new construction, obviously in a new house, you have soil. Or in some cases, you might have clay for your soil. So you'll have to add a mix of soil and sand. So if you have an existing house and an existing lawn, to overseed, I would do some either raking on top of it, or you can do the holes on the top. There's a certain
aerating.
There's a certain tool that you can do to give the ground some air, thus aerating. Thank you. And then after you do that, you'll have more success, because then the seed will get into the soil. And then you do your seeding, and then you have to water it in. Don't rely on the rain. I would definitely water it in.
Great.
I don't know if that helps. There's probably a lot of other things I could talk about with that, Kathy, but I think just to keep it simple for people, those are the basic steps for that.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, Linda, thank you so much. If there's do you have anything else that you want to, any last minute tips before we go?
You're all unmuted now, so if you have any questions, you can speak up.
I guess another fun project might be a fire pit too. They're really easy to build. Not a gas one, obviously. Easy to build with just creating a space in your yard, and you can carve it out, or even just have the lawn there. But there's different ways and different kits that you can do, or you can just have a very the circumference of whatever your fire pit is. You could put it on top of a solid base, or put down some blue stones and have it on there, and then there you go. But there's a lot of other, there's just so many things that you can do with that. And I'm happy to provide any kind of information. I have a wealth of books and knowledge and things. I've been doing this for 18 years. And I would be happy to help everybody out, especially in this situation that we're all in. And I just wish everybody the best, and that we get through this very quickly. And I really appreciate you all joining me.
We had one other question.
Yeah,
thank you.
That just came in. That was, what is the easiest low maintenance plant that is beautiful to plant?
Okay, not an easy question, because you have to, it's like a doctor and they ask you all kinds of questions. So what is the light? Is it sun? Is it shade? Is it part sun? Is it part shade? Do you want something that comes back every year? That's a perennial. Do you want a shrub that's a little bit hardier? And again, there's deciduous shrubs, deciduous meaning it loses its leaves, or there's shrubs that keep their leaves. And then the same goes with, trees. How much space do you have? So short answer for New York, I would say my favorite perennial that comes back every year that is easy, hardy, and blooms all summer is Nepeta, and it's purple, also known as cat. So yeah, I would choose Nepeta as my perennial. I would choose Pieris japonica, which is Andromeda, because deer tend to not eat it, and it stays green all year, and it also gets fiery red leaves if you choose Mountain Fire as the variety. And that's very low maintenance, And up here, you know, we are very low. I mean, we have a lot of low maintenance desires up here where, you know, we just don't have time. Everybody's working a lot, or it's their second or, you know, home or what have you. So, you know, things have to be low maintenance. So those two plants come to mind. And I love Lagostronias. That tree it blooms in July and August. It's also known as a crepe myrtle.
Oh, I love crepe myrtle. Yeah, beautiful.
In the south, they're white or pink or purple. White tends to do best up in this zone. So, did that answer the question?
Yes.
Okay.
Great.
All right.
Great. Linda, thank you so much.
You're
so
so
good to
welcome.
see you and everyone else's faces. And obviously, if anybody has questions, Linda is readily available, and you can always reach out to me or her, and we can get you details. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope y'all enjoyed the half hour.
Thank you.
Take care.
It was wonderful, Lynn.
Thanks.
See you all soon. Thanks.
Bye.